This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, May the 3rd. Please stand for our invocation led by Councilman Penn, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence following the pledge.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you right now, God, for our city, God, our leaders, our administration, the council right now, God, and the staff members of the city of Mobile. We thank you right now, God, for unity, Lord. We thank you for strategies to help take our community to the next level, our cities to the next level, God. Give us wisdom right now, God. We lift up our chief of police, our fire department, God, and all our other public work services right now, God, that we have excellent service, God, and we work with constituents for the needs of the community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We're going to ask everyone to please remain for a moment of silence to our former councilwoman, Ermentine Watson. We know that she had passed away on last Friday afternoon. Mrs. Watson was the inaugural member of the Mobile City Council, and she served 2 terms in the late 80s and the early 90s. Mrs. Watson, she had represented District 1 on the Mobile City Council, and she was also one of the first African-American women to earn a pharmacy license in the state of Alabama. And at this time, we'll just ask for a moment of silence.
Roll call. President Small.
Present.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everybody on this beautiful Tuesday morning. We welcome you to our city council meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone has any type of electronic device to put on the off or the vibrate position. The off or the vibrate position. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. on the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to address must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak to the council on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. When addressing the council, the speaker must give their name and address. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates the time has expired. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate everybody taking time to come down here today. I have an exciting announcement for Atlanta Braves fans. And that announcement is that at 3 o'clock on Friday, May 13th, the Atlanta Braves will be bringing the World Championship trophy to Mobile as part of their World Championship tour. This will be the Commissioner's Trophy, obviously for the Atlanta Braves fans. Maybe want to have a picture made with it. So at 3 o'clock on Friday, May 13th at Cooper Riverside Park, we're going to have a celebration for those people that are inclined to want to participate in that. Obviously an opportunity to have your picture made and to celebrate. This is the 4th time they've won the World Series, and so you may not be here when they win the next one, so you may want to come by and, never mind, I didn't say that. You may want to come by and have your picture made. This event is being sponsored locally by the City of Mobile, ASM Global, and Visit Mobile. Wednesday, on May 4th, is International Firefighters Day. I think it's fitting that we recognize these dedicated men and women in Mobile Fire Rescue Department. In the last, in fact, it was just yesterday that we had a large woods fire where they engaged, making sure that no adjacent houses or any residential areas were touched by that fire. And immediately thereafter, there was a fully involved house fire on York Haven Drive. Regardless of the day of the week or the time of the day, if there's a fire, our firefighters will be responding to make sure that they are protecting you and their property, and for that, we are tremendously grateful. We would ask that to show your appreciation for the Mobile Fire Rescue Department and firefighters, that on social media, that you engage by going to hashtag #WeThankFFS, We Thank Firefighters, but it's hashtag #WeThankFFs. And the other one is hashtag #ThisIsMyFirefighter. So please go online and express your appreciation for all they do to protect us and our property. At this time, I'd like to read a proclamation for Small Business Week, and I would ask that Director Brent McMahon please come to the podium, along with Vice President of Small Business Development, Daniette Richards, and Director of Small Business Development, Darrell Randall, and Small Business Navigator, Barbara Peters. So if y'all could all come to the podium. I'm going to read the proclamation, and then we'll be able to come have a picture made. The proclamation reads, whereas America's strongest economic growth in almost 40 years has been driven by the resilience of our small businesses who, despite a worldwide pandemic, continue to pioneer innovative solutions to our country's greatest challenges by creating opportunities for families and workers. And whereas from the storefront shops that anchor Main Street to the high-tech startups that keep America on the cutting edge, to small manufacturers driving our competitiveness on the global stage, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas because this country's 3.25 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of every 3 jobs in our economy, we cannot resolve ourselves to create jobs and spur economic growth in America without discussing ways to support our entrepreneurs. And whereas Mobile, Alabama supports and joins this national effort to help America by creating an environment where small businesses can grow, create jobs, and ensure the local communities remain as vibrant tomorrow as they are today. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim May 1 through May 7th as National Small Business Week. Congratulations, and thank you for those that you represent and all that you do.
I'm grateful for your participation in this, and thank you on behalf of all business owners.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And that concludes my remarks.
Adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Been properly moved and second, and in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have a request for a waive of the noise ordinance on May the 8th in Medal of Honor Park.
So move. Second.
Been properly moved and second, and in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Appeal is passed. Madam Clerk, I believe that Councilman William Carroll has a proclamation.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to stand before you today and actually to read a proclamation for the historic preservation resources that we have in our city. I myself live in a neighborhood that is an old neighborhood in Mobile, in Oakley, but there are several old neighborhoods in the city and also neighborhoods that are just as old and older that we're looking forward to at some time preserving those properties also. So today, I'm here to read this proclamation, and if you guys would come down if you would like, because I see all of you here. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city of Mobile, founded in 1702, is rich in history, culture, and diverse architecture, and whereas Mobile's history is reflected in the preservation and restoration of its historic homes and buildings, representing our heritage and defining the character of our city. And whereas these historic designations have produced an enormous economic impact through investments, renovations, and job creation. And whereas the Mobile Historic Development Commission, Historic Mobile Preservation Society, the Downtown Mobile Alliance, and Restore Mobile Incorporated, in conjunction with the Alabama Historical Commission and the National Trust of Historic Preservation, celebrate the National Historic Preservation Month each May and actively promote the importance of historic preservation. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Mobile City Council, along with the mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Historic Preservation Month in the city of Mobile and urge all of our citizens to join in with us in recognizing this special month. Done this day in the city of Mobile. Congratulations to you guys. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Well, this week is a special week across the nation, as it's National Teacher Appreciation Week. And I would ask where you would be today without the teachers that you had in your life. Fortunately, I come from a family of litany on my wife's side. She's a teacher. Her mom and dad were teachers in the system. They retired out of the Mobile City school systems, brothers, etc. So teachers hold a special place in my heart this morning, and I've got Principal Lafitte and a few teachers from Burns Middle School. If y'all will come down, we're going to just call them out by name, but really this is for all of the teachers. But we're going to recognize a school in my district this morning and say thank you for what y'all do every day, because indeed it is a selfless job that you give hours upon hours. It's not just the 8 to 3, it's nights of grading homework, it's the calls that you get from your students, it's going on weekend events where they ask you to go and you gladly accept, and it's time away from your family to take care of your students first, and I've seen that firsthand, and thank you all, and Principal, Lafitte, for all you do as an administrator to herd the cats of all of that and make sure that school runs smoothly. That's also an important job, and give them the tools that they need to succeed in the classroom every day. So thank you all for that. And with that, I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas every year we dedicate the first week of May as Teacher Appreciation Week to celebrate and thank our community's educators, we would like to give special recognition to the teachers of Burns Middle School. And whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends upon providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service, whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community, now therefore I, Scott Johns, council member of District 6, along with the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 2nd through the 6th as Teacher Appreciation Week in Mobile, and urge all our citizens to join with us in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. Done at the City of Mobile this 3rd day of May. Signed, Scott Jones.
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to rezone property located at 93, 95, and 97 North Sage Avenue from R1 to B2.
This open up the public hearing for the said property. If anyone present that would like to speak to the council, you may do so by approaching the podium at this time. If anyone present. If not, this particular public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to rezone property located at the northeast corner of Halls Mill Road and River Duchesne Road from B3 to I1.
This open up the public hearing for the said property. If anyone present in the audience that would like to address this council, you may do so at this time by coming down to the podium. Anyone present? If not, this particular public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Taylor's House of Camellias to operate a shuttle service.
Is anyone present in the audience that would like to speak on this particular public hearing? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Tiffany Harris James.
Good morning. My name is Tiffany Harris James. I reside at, my home address is 3507 Alba Club Road, Mobile, Alabama 36605. I come to you today on behalf of Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, City Council. Good morning, administration, and everyone who is present. We had an event on April 15th called Amazing Admins, where we celebrated administrative professionals, and those 12 administrative professionals would become mentors for the young parents of Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation. I may be jumping ahead of myself on one of the votes here, but nonetheless, we wanted to thank the City Council for their support in this event. And as young parents, we know we have a lot to prove, so we actually went to those council members that we had a close connection with, and we wanted to prove ourselves. And our second phase of Amazing Admins is our job development program called Blue Ocean Admin Academy. So you'll definitely be seeing a lot of me in the future as well. But I want to read a really quick Bible scripture here, and it's 1 Corinthians 13:13, NIV. And now there remain faith, hope, and charity, these three. But the greatest of these three is charity. So I would love for Councilman Corey Penn to come as I present him with his appreciation for his support in Amazing Admins, followed by Councilman Carroll, and Councilman Scott Jones. Oh, and also you guys should all have the commemorative memento from the event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sanford Davis, and following Sanford Davis is Reverend Cleveland McFarland.
Good morning. My name is Sanford Davis, Sanford L. Davis, matter of fact, and I live at 2251 Roberta Drive in District 1, area code 36617. To our Honorable Council President, Mr. C.J. Small, and to our Honorable Mayor, Mr. Stimpson. To all of the members of the City Council and the Mayor's administrative staff, I come greeting you all in the name of our Lord and our Savior, Jesus the Christ. I'm an ordained elder and a pastor in the AME Zion Church. And we've been out here for a long time. We've been here in the city of Mobile with deep roots for a long time. We have 2 congregations in the historic district here in Mobile and throughout the city of Mobile. I stand here today representing our bishop who has been assigned to the Alabama, Florida Episcopal area that has an office here on Bayou Street at Big Zion AME Zion Church, where Dr. Thorne, who's standing here with me, served as the pastor and as the presiding elder of the Mobile district. I stand here today because I'm compelled to stand here today. It's rare that I come and speak. Normally, the presiding elder will speak or someone else out of the bishop's office will come, but I'm here today because we've been struggling with this redistricting since November. In a couple of weeks, another item was put on the table. Is that 2 minutes? Well, the other thing I want to say is that we are opposed to annexation at this point. And what we are calling for is the order of the day. And we're asking you all to, in good faith, let's deal with redistricting. Get it tabled, get it laid to rest, and then we will move in good faith with you towards annexation. So my compelling reason for being here today is to ask you, as I notice when our clerk starts the meeting, we all stand and hold our hands over our hearts as a pledge to the flag. We say, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's all we're asking for. Justice, fairness, and equity. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Reverend McFarland. Following Reverend McFarland is Reverend Jim Flowers.
Good morning
Good morning.
to our mayor and to our council, to all of you who are here. I live at 1525 West Carlisle Drive, Mobile, Alabama. I'm here today to speak about redistricting and this proposed annexation attempt. For months and months, we, the citizens of this city, have been coming down here urging you to fulfill your duty and your obligation to make sure that the new city council map reflects our city. The 2020 census demonstrates that the city of Mobile is now a majority black city. Naturally, the reality means that the government of the city should reflect that. And we have now gotten closer to seeing that happen with the introduction of the Community Coalition map. Last week, we heard that yet another annexation attempt has happened. Given this unfinished business of what we're trying to do with redistricting, this is disappointing, to say the least. With that said, if annexation is truly on the table, it is critical that you remember that any annexation must reflect the 2020 census. This means that proposed annexation must reflect that fact that this city is now majority black. Otherwise, it will be clear that this is just an attempt to prevent the black community from being finally represented, positively represented here in this city government plaza. And it will be challenged if that's the case, because all of the community deserves representation, and all of our neighborhoods and cities deserve attention and resources that representation provides. I hope that you will do the right thing regarding redistricting and any proposed annexation. We are watching and we are counting on you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Reverend Jim Flowers, and following Reverend Jim Flowers is Michelle Simons.
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, good morning. I'm Jim Flowers, Rector of All Saints Episcopal Church, 151 South Ann Street, Mobile, in District 2. I rise to speak again on behalf of the parish that I serve and on behalf of the good people asking for meaningful majority representation in this city. Now the debate has been commingled with the issue of annexation. That does not serve us. In fact, considering these issues at the same time implies that they are of equal importance. They are not. Annexation has its pros and its cons. In our case, at least according to the limited data that we have now, it appears that the proposed annexation would yield little revenue since the neighborhoods in question are predominantly residential. Tax dollars, that is to say property taxes, will go to the county. The city is sustained by sales tax. It has been said that this increase in population will make us eligible for grant money, but grant money, as you know, is competitive. It's not a sure thing, and it is temporary. Grants expire. And most important, any annexation, as Reverend McFarland noted, would have to comply with the new voter reapportionment determined by the 2020 census. An independent racial polarization study would give us more clarity in that regard and would further give us an idea of the longer-term effects of a new annexation. All this to say that we are not ready to approve or disapprove of an annexation. Redistricting is the matter at hand and of infinitely more importance. It is a matter of historical significance. It is a matter of justice that goes to the heart of our democracy. This is not a mere pro and con argument. No one has given a reason why the new map shouldn't be approved. The city has a legal and moral responsibility to approve districts that respect the black majority of this city, plain and simple. We feel strongly that the new maps we've presented from the coalition, very comparable to the map the mayor has submitted, provide for a meaningful voting majority for the black citizens of Mobile, a meaningful majority, giving them a sustained voice in matters of our common life. One has to only look at the disparity of the infrastructure between black and white neighborhoods to see the results of inadequate representation in government. Drive through Spring Hill and Oakley, then the bottom, Campground, Africatown, and the imperative becomes clear. For centuries, our African American brothers and sisters have had to sit on the sidelines, muted as to the progress and future of Mobile. They have been left out, in short. We have the auspicious opportunity to repair that breach. Our dubious legacy is that we are the American city at which the last slave ship, under the cloak of darkness, slipped into our port. We can change that legacy, good people. The opportunity is here. It has arrived. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michelle Simons.
I don't move quite as fast as I used to. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, City Council. Good morning, citizens of Mobile, staff, and grateful to see the mayor's been able to stay through this meeting. That's very encouraging. My name is Michelle Simons. I live at 1106 Savannah Street. I'm proud and honored to be served in this capacity by Councilman Carroll. I'm speaking to issues of redistricting, annexation, and the legal and ethical necessity first, to ensure a healthy African American voting majority in District 7 in order to enable the city government to reflect the majority of African American and people of color citizenship in Mobile. And two, throughout the process and in the product at the end, we must maintain the racial balance as discovered and described by the most recent federal census. And, while I'm speaking about this, I would just like to say that the phrase majority minority makes no sense at all. Mobile is now a majority people of color city. It is a majority African American people of color city. I am now the minority in my Mobile. White citizens are now the minority. And in 20 years, I will be the minority throughout this country. So we've got to learn how to do this. I'm going to tell a story. A friend of mine grew up here. She's an African American woman. She's about my age, and she went to the public schools, to the black schools, in the 50s and 60s. And at that time, the textbooks for those schools were the handoffs from the white schools. I'm not even going to comment on that. Around middle school, high school, the textbooks they began to receive were defaced. They had horrible words written on the pages. They had pages torn out. They had pictures defaced. In other words, the books were made partially unusable. And I haven't been able to forget this story because I keep asking myself, what is that? What gives white 15-year-old children the idea that it's a good idea to deface these books and shame the students, their peers, who will be receiving them? I bring this up because some of that spirit is in this room. We've run into it again and again, and it has to stop. What gives people this idea are lies. And I'm asking us, the lie here, the central lie, is that some people are more valuable than others. This is simply untrue. I will leave you with this. The issue is not going away. Concerned citizens of Mobile, as black and white citizens, are not going away. And concerned citizens of Mobile, both black and white, will be here every week until we see justice done. I really appreciate your listening to me. And I'm going to have hope that I've been able to be heard. Thank you.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Excuse me. Citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today to continue the necessary efforts towards eradicating juvenile delinquency and violence within our city. Before beginning, I want to take this time to wish all the educators Happy Teachers Appreciation Day. While often a thankless job, know that we're grateful for your efforts, and like everyone in here, you matter. I would like to tender to this body with all of the items on today's agenda, including us potentially spending over $1 million on vehicles alone, that if I would avoid directly addressing those concerns publicly, this must be a serious endeavor. For the record, however, I have formally submitted specific questions to both the executive and legislative branches here regarding the business of May the 3rd, 2022, which I expect, as a taxpaying resident, an answer, response this week. In 1981, Samuel Huntington, professor of government at Harvard University, he said, "You may have a chance to sell intervention or other military action in such a way as to create the misimpression that it is the Soviet Union that you're fighting." I gather this to mean that if you have a society in which the voice of the public is heard, you got to make sure that that voice is saying the right thing. Understanding this, we have created a culture of investing in approaches that do not yield the results for what it costs the taxpayer. When we see ourselves then finessing the people with our presentations, parading our citizens around in a fashion that only Mobile can do, yet what's the point? What is the purpose? What is being served? My concern is not with the alternative facts. I can hear and read that we spend millions of dollars on public safety, but I can see the teenager who was murdered less than a week ago in real time, today. So again, my concern is not with the alternative facts that linger in this chamber week after week. Instead, my quorum is with alternative views that are constructed anytime we seek excuses to cover up reality of what Mobilians are facing week in and week out. We are approaching budget season, and I hope that we are actually considering ways to invest resources in data-proven initiatives which actually work. We hear so much about it takes all of us. One Mobile, we're so much better together. Yet actions from those considered as leaders in this city show everything but collaborating and bring everybody to this table. So we want to fix these issues. It's not rocket science. It's not complex. It may be heavy, but until we bring everybody to the table, it's only going to get worse. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Ordinance is held over.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jones?
since there's not an ordinance or resolution that addresses some of the topics that have been discussed, I'd like to go ahead and make a statement at this point to address the redistricting and annexation comments that have been made, if I may. First, I'm disappointed that this opportunity is not looked on as something that is extremely positive for the city as we move forward and make it better. The two issues absolutely go hand in hand. The two issues absolutely make us stronger, as we've heard testimony week after week after week. And there's two drivers for annexation as to why this fits perfectly with redistricting. First of all, we just heard this morning about justice and liberty for all. What about the voters in West Mobile who have been begging for the opportunity to vote, which is what this is all about? This is not voting on annexation. For decades, people have fought and died in this state for the right to vote. And this body has denied that opportunity. It's time for that to change. More importantly, week after week, I sit and listen to all of the issues with this city. Poverty, blight, poor educational dollars, or not enough educational dollars in programs to educate our citizens to be the very best and have the very best opportunities that they can have. Redistricting does nothing to get after the dollars that those issues require. Annexation gets after the issue. We talk about bleeding population. We talk about getting into a worse state in this city. Birmingham has a population, 2020 census, 200,733 citizens. Majority of that city is black. About 68%, if I remember the numbers correct. The ARPA funding that city received was $148 million. We received $58 million. Annexation would have brought us well above the 200,000 population. Now, yes, there's more blight in Birmingham than there is Mobile. Let's say it's 20%. Take 20% out of the 90 million. That's about $75 million that would have gone to the very parishioners of the pastors that come down here week after week after week in districts 1, 2, and 3. That's where the funds would have gone, just like the $58 million of the ARPA funds that has currently been allocated. It's going to districts 1, 2, and 3 where the greatest need exists as per the purview of the regulatory requirements of those funds. It is essential that we do this in a timely manner, and we should be excited about this. We should be excited about the capabilities and the opportunities that this presents for this city. The facts are there. Now, I don't know exactly what the layout of that annexation line will be, so I don't know how any statement can be made about the revenue at this point, but I guarantee you this, I grew up out west. And if you take a satellite image photo of when I moved out there in 1985 and you look at it today, it doesn't even look close. Residences, shopping malls, banks, schools. And that's revenue we have missed out on. This is not a vote for today. This is a vote 20 years from today that will impact dollars and people into the city and turn things around for everybody. Rising tide lifts all ships in all districts. Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, I get to, I guess, say just a few words. So first, let me start out by saying that, one, ebonically, we ain't Birmingham. We ain't Birmingham. I hope you understand that. Secondly, ARPA funds, in hindsight, based on additional people in the city, ARPA funds were a result of a pandemic. What you were looking at is pure as hindsight 2020 and speculation at best, based on population that we did not have because we didn't pass something. So you're looking at hindsight. It never would have existed ARPA funds never would have existed if it had not been for a pandemic. So you're creating, in essence, you're creating a pandemic in people's mind based on what's happened at a new current point in time on something that you would like to see happen now because you're vehemently ready to see an annexation attempt. What we're hearing from the community is this. I don't hear anybody out there saying that they're against it. What I hear people out there saying is they like to separate the issue. They don't want to hear us down here bargaining on annexation and reapportionment and redistricting. They don't want them out here to be here today in the same day, if that's what I'm hearing, both to be on the same day. The city at some point, with our need to grow, may and will do an annexation. That's probably evident. If you look at the growth maps, I agree, it's growing out there. But let's talk about the previous two annexations. First of all, the Jones administration annexed quite a few people, bought in on one annexation 12.2 or 12.8 million. The first annexation attempt that I've seen from this administration had 13,700 people that was only bringing in $2.2 million. Now, that doesn't weigh against the population that you bought in the areas that you were trying to serve. Now, not to say that it was a bad attempt, but the disparity in cost was totally different. So let's think about that also. Also, when we talk about annexation, it has to be, if we're going to do this and do it right, it has to be in a proportionate attempt. Proportionate. I think that's what I heard out here today. They want it fair, equitable, balanced, and just for everybody in the city, including those that are coming in. But most of all, I hear the point that we don't want to dilute the opportunity that is here now. That's what I heard. I didn't hear nobody saying no. What I heard was they want it separated. Not on the same day, maybe not in the same week, but they want to totally look at it. Now, going back to the other annexation, I took this weekend and rode every ounce of the areas annexed by the Jones administration. We still have promises we haven't kept in that annexation attempt. We still have areas that we haven't done the work that we promised. Mobile Terrace, Theodore, they're still incomplete from that annexation attempt. We put a park in Mobile Terrace or so. We're finished out there? No. But we want to annex more area with more people, but we still haven't done what we said we're going to do the first time. And I'm partly at fault for that because I was part of the annexation attempts the first time. But we want to annex more area, and still yet we haven't even done the work to complete the first annexation promises we had. Let's go ahead and get everybody in here. The other thing you got to look at is that where is the money going to come from to pay for the areas that have been annexed in this annexation attempt? Where's it going to come from? It's going to come from the inner city, where the tax base really is. I haven't seen any growth maps. I haven't seen any areas. I don't know what's the growth projection out there. I don't know what areas we're trying to annex. So right now, annexation to me is completely off the table until we see that information. I know that they said they're going to give it, but based on the information that we see, it's going to determine the route, and I hope that this council chooses to go. Hopefully the council will be fair, just, and equitable. And I keep hearing the fact that we did not give people the opportunity to vote. That it sounds like we're saying that we represent people that are outside the city and we're not giving our constituents a chance to do what they've asked us to do. But in my mind, I represent the people in District 2 and they're telling me to do something totally different. Those are the people I represent. So when it comes to saying that I did not or we did not give somebody an opportunity to vote, the people that I represent, I am giving them the opportunity to voice their opinion on how they want me to vote. Me to vote. So, let this be clear. I will be fair, I will be just, and I will be equitable, and I'm going to do everything that it takes to make sure that this city has a chance to grow. And we will do it in an order that is fair and just for everybody. Thank you, Mr. President.
I would like to say just one thing, and I know Mr. Brimmer's down there probably having a stroke, but we have to learn, especially as city leaders, to show respect, not only just to ourselves, but to each other. Reggie Hill, Mr. Hill, come down here every week. I know he's going to be down here for the next 4 weeks. And you can give Mr. Hill his 3 minutes and listen to him throughout. Everything that come out Mr. Hill mouth I don't agree with. Some things I do agree with. But the thing about it is I show Mr. Hill respect. And as far as, because I am an elected official, I am a leader. I don't think like Mr. Hill, and Mr. Hill don't think like me. We are all 7 council members up here, and we represent our own districts. And we all think differently. That's why it's an odd number. So we can all just get together and negotiate on how to work and move the city forward. But in all due respect, a dog deserves respect. And that's what we, as city leaders, have to show not just each other, but also the constituents, the citizens that's come down here, and address us and everything. So I'm just going to ask my council, just remember that we are leaders. And just because that you don't think the same way that another person thinks, don't belittle them at all. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance is held over. 64018. Rezone property located at the northeast corner of Halls Mill Road and River Duchesne Road from B3 to I1.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
CIP resolutions held over. 21348, authorized contract with C. Thornton, Inc. for 2022 CIP sidewalks.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Resolutions held over. 01349, authorized agreements with Jenny Brown to provide court reporting services. 01350, authorized agreement with Pyrotechnico for July 4th fireworks display. 01351, authorized interagency agreement with the Alabama Department of Human Resources for Summer Youth Employment Program. 08352, approved purchase orders to Stivers Ford Lincoln for Ford Explorers and 3 Ford F-150 trucks. 21353, authorized contract amendment with ACOM Technical Services for Baltimore Street and Drainage Rehabilitation. 21354, authorized contract with Adulty Ports and Maritime for preventive maintenance and repairs at the Mobile, Alabama Cruise Terminal. 21355, authorized contract with Southeastern Association of Fire Chiefs for support of annual conference logistics. 21356 and 357 are authorizing contracts with Best Price Services and Butler Complete Services for right-of-way mowing. 35358, authorized a lease agreement with Grebe to lease approximately 8,378 square feet of space. Project funding through ARP. 60359, authorized settlement agreement and release of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes.
Ordinance is being introduced. 64027.
By council rules, these will be laid over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 37366 through 6369.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions.
So moved. Second. Sorry.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
37366 and 37367 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a special events retail license for Saturdays at the Coop and for Stale Cracker Crawfish Boil on State Street.
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry. Let me just read all of those together. 6368 and 6369 are determined appropriations to the ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation and United Methodist Inner City Mission serve a public purpose and approve payments.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Resolutions being introduced 01370 through 6387.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of 08371, with the rest of these resolutions being laid over for 1 week.
I thought we were doing 372 also.
37 and 372.
Okay.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk?
08371-372 are approving purchase orders to CDW Government for annual MS Office 365 software licenses and for Microsoft Windows Serve software licenses.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Announcements.
District 4, Mr. Reynolds.
Very briefly, we'll have a District 4 community meeting on May 25th at the Zelia Road Complex, where we will discuss the 311 process, public safety, redistricting, and the future growth of our city. So I hope to see you all out there. Thank you.
District 6, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Only announcement I have with regards to the administrative committee meeting that is today, I will not be there. I've abstained from all actions that took up any items outside of annexation and redistricting together, so I will continue that. But I would urge my colleagues to relook the map. I do know that it does cut out the District 1 councilman from his own district. So I know there's an error there, needs to get relooked and fixed. Would urge y'all to do that before it's amended and then presented again, or discussed and amended, whatever. Thank you.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On today, we will have our community meeting at the Dodge Community Center at 6 p.m. Inviting all of the community and the Trinity Garden community to come out. Even if you live outside the Trinity Garden community in District 1, you're invited as well. We're going to be discussing light in our community, crime, youth violence, and what we can do to help our community, and, of course, redistricting as well. So come out today at 6 p.m. at the Dodge Community Center. We also, this past weekend, had a great turnout with our youth. We did a focus fishing trip for our young people in our community. We had a great turnout, so we want to thank Jason, Caffey, and others, McConnell, who was a part of this event, fishing with our youth. We had a great time. It was a great exposure. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
District 2, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, I want to respond to the District 1 council member. In the audience today is a professional map maker that consulted with everybody on the making of the maps. And the geolocation provided by the mayor's map and GIS has been vetted several times and also re-vetted this morning. The council person in District 1 is absolutely in District 1. If he is not in District 1, then the maps provided by the mayor and administration, their departments, were absolutely wrong, because the shape files that were used to make these maps were provided by this administration. Mr. President, let me first say that there is a huge amount of excitement in the Hope Center. The Hope Center is providing a service, or a Go Girl Youth Empowerment Conference hosted by the Hope Center community in the Recreation Center out there. This is being put on by one of the members of the Mobile Parks and Recreation in that center, and it is to encourage, empower, and have spiritual enlightenment to young women, hopefully 100 women. Young women. This will be from May 31st through June 3rd. I encourage everyone to sign up for it. You can sign up for it online at mprd.reddesk.com. You can also sign up for it at the Hope Center and seeing the director out there. Also, tonight, we've all been tracking the Clotilda. And tonight at the Hope Center at 6 p.m., we will have Ben Raines do a presentation on his book and on how he discovered the location of the Clotilda. I encourage you all to come out and see it. I've heard it. I've been to it twice now. It's extremely informative, especially about history and the passage from Africa to the United States and how those individuals live. Thirdly, I have sent out a flyer that gives all of the remaining dates of community meetings in District 2 so that we can talk about redistricting, talk about all the things that are in front of us, blight, neighborhood restoration, and all of those good things. So that's my announcement, Mr. President, but please, everyone knows dates so that we don't have to continue to send out multiple notices. Are also on my Facebook page, both personal and the council page, and also provided in my newsletter. So please keep up, and I look forward to seeing all of you in District 2.
District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that. This past weekend, I got to welcome and provide a proclamation and keys to the city along with a couple of my colleagues at the Joe Smith golf tournament. The Kappa Alpha Psi alumni chapter here in Mobile put this on. It was great to be out there with all of the golfers and also to meet Joe's sons, Terry and Joe Jr. It's a great program. It's for scholarships in Joe Smith's honor. Also, after that, I joined the mayor and his leadership team in doing a day of service. We were in the North Cody Road area, picking up litter, and we got to talk with a lot of the residents who came out to see what was going on, and it was really good to see all of the staff in these areas. So I think it's important for them to see the neighborhoods that we serve and for the neighborhoods to see the city staff that serves them. So thank you for doing that in my district. Also, this coming Saturday, I'll be tagging along with the Firefighters and American Red Cross as they install smoke alarms in various areas throughout the district. These are Hillsdale, Mobile Terrace, 8th Road, Middle Ring, and Greenway. Signs are up throughout the neighborhoods. If you are still interested, I think there's still time to get you on the list, but we will be starting out early in the morning and going throughout these neighborhoods to install free smoke alarms. And just a couple of points of notice, next week we will be holding a committee of the whole to discuss the UDC. And I know a lot of people have asked, we will begin here in the auditorium at 1 o'clock, and we will be allowing speakers, and it'll be the same 3 minutes as normal. And just one other point of clarity, I know it was brought up earlier about some of the things that we did in the last annexation. Of course, I was here as well. We did do a lot of things in Mobile Terrace. We had to pass, we approved a bond issue actually to be able to fund all of the updates that we made in Mobile Terrace, which included resurfacing, new lights, new drainage, the new park. Police patrols were updated and increased. We also put up 2 entrance markers in Mobile Terrace and have put in sidewalks and some other improvements as time has gone on. So we did do these things. Of course, now the streets need resurfacing again, and they are slated for the next pay-as-you-go program. So when the city makes promises, the city certainly tries to keep those promises. And all of this was started under the Jones administration. These improvements were started and completed, started in the Jones administration and then completed. So we are still in Mobile Terrace. We know they are there, and we continue working with them on making improvements in this neighborhood.
And I'd like to say greetings to District 3. On last Tuesday, we had our spring district meeting at the Mobile Downtown Airport. It was a very well-attended meeting. We had several speakers, but the main speaker, which was our host, Mr. Chris Curry, many people was just more thrilled to know exactly what's going on in their backyards. It was a surprising meeting because it wasn't that much negative at all dealing with the airport versus what it was when they first started talking about moving the airport down to Brooklyn Field. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Chris Curry, especially the administration, for coming out, and also Cassandra and all others who helped to make last Tuesday a great success. I will be attending the meeting this evening with Councilman Carroll, dealing with Africa Town. Even before the ship was founded, I was criticized by my own district that I was talking about Africa Town a little bit too much, because I always say that we had a treasure in our backyard in Mobile, which is the Cathedral. And now since we found it and the Discover, I've been hearing on the news, should we bring it up or just leave it down there? Leave it down there for what? I mean, you bring it up, you bring in tourism. I mean, I think there's only like 15 in the world that actually been founded. And we have this in our backyard. So I will ask this administration also my colleagues, let's do everything that we can do to try to bring that up. Because again, it was an unfortunate time, but that will bring tourism dollars into our communities. And the more people come and know about, what's going on in Mobile, knowing that we have the last slave ship, something that's real. We look at Montgomery, that's, it's made up, but we have the real thing in our backyard. So I'm going to ask this council and also the administration to support the idea of just bring it up and let's bring people to Mobile, Alabama. Also, this coming weekend is Mother's Day. It's a sad time and it's a happy time for many. It's a happy time because there are mothers that are here and they will be celebrating with their kids. It's a sad time for many because some of the mothers and grandmothers have gone on home to glory. I will be hosting a butterfly release on this coming Sunday at 7:30 a.m. at Cooperside River Park. I'm inviting the whole city out to a tribute to mothers who's now our guardian angels. We have hundreds of butterflies that we will be passing out, and we have a speaker, Mr. Reverend Pastor Kyle Sims, of the founder and lead pastor of the Rock Church in Daphne, Alabama, will be our guest speaker. There will be some speaking, and there also will be some singing going on this coming Sunday at 7:30 at Riverside Park. Again, inviting the whole city, surrounding areas to come out this coming Sunday. And again, we will be passing out butterfly, and it is a free event. And to all the mothers that's still here and celebrating, happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you all. Is there anything else from this council? Anything from the administration?
Yes, sir. The location of the admin services meeting at 1?
Upstairs, council conference room, unless the audience is so big we have to move it.
Motion to adjourn.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?